600 shots just to say my name right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm Teresa Sharpe, and I own Manchester Cheesecake Company. I started making cheesecakes because a boyfriend told me I couldn't. He challenged me to a recipe I had found, and once I started, I had to perfect it, so I made it a million times till it was perfect. I wouldn't be here if he didn't challenge me, so. At the time, I was a bartender, and I would bring in the cheesecakes to my regulars. And so I started doing it for friends and family, just making cheesecakes. They started paying me for it, and it just went from there. I started making the switch over to a business once COVID hit and I had lost my job. The day that I lost my job was kind of an eye-opening day. My grandfather had taken a fall, and that day he had came out of the nursing home. And so for me, that's where I was supposed to be and where God wanted me, was right there with my grandfather and helping him get back to himself, which was a long journey. Everything was shutting down for COVID. There was really nothing going on. My backup plan would be a bartender, but everything was shut down, so I couldn't be a bartender. I was like, if I don't try to do this now, I'll never do it, because now I have the opportunity. And so I took my stimulus and I started a business, and I convinced my grandfather to let me have this little space to open it. And it took me a good 6 months to get it ready. And then around Thanksgiving in 2020, I opened, and it just took off. I was doing 10-inch cheesecakes, the larger ones. And so I was getting ready for the Christmas round, and I actually caught COVID. So I had about 35 to 40 cheesecakes, full-size cheesecakes that I threw away on Christmas Eve, and I ruined probably 20 people's Christmas because they didn't have their cheesecakes. And so I took that time during when I had COVID to really think about where I can go with this, because the big cheesecakes are tough to sell. So when I reopened January 1st after the new year, I opened with mini ones, 4-inch little personal size ones that come with a spoon in a little box. The concept was that they could come in and eat it on their way out or eat it down Main Street. I went from making 20 a week to making 100 a week in those first couple months. I had people waiting for me when I got here in a line down the hallway, which was a little overwhelming at first. I was like, wow. So I went from baking once a week to every day. Then it just continued like that. There's been challenges along the way as far as the economy and people having money to spend on something extra like a cheesecake. And now in supply, cream cheese is not always easy to find. So there has been challenges, but you just have to learn how to pivot. I have so much advice for females opening businesses or wanting to start businesses, especially single moms. We get so wrapped into the 9 to 5 with the insurance and the running around to sports. It's very overwhelming. And that was one of the reasons I lost my job. I was just too overwhelmed from life, and I just couldn't do it all by myself. Kids get sick and such, you can't just leave work. So for me, I found something I was passionate about, and I went with it and I took the chance. So I encourage other women to do the same and just find that love and be able to make a living on it. I truly believe that this is where I'm supposed to be, and God is leading me the way. Yeah, absolutely. This is where He wants me.